Welcome, Brian by the Creek here, and today we got another Minecraft video. I can't say exactly when I uploaded my last one. I know it's definitely been some time since I actually did the footage. It's been at least a month since I did the footage and then uploaded it. I don't know the time frame from this video compared to that video, though. However, as you can see, I got some background footage, some mining, which actually happens after the fact in this episode. It happens somewhere in the middle of it, but obviously the mining was cut out in the video anyways, so I'm just using it as B-roll for now as I talk. Hopefully that's okay. Nothing particularly interesting like Rainbow Six Siege clips, but I figured Minecraft clips would be more fitting for a Minecraft video. Today, we got a mixture of a little bit of a recap at what I have done since the last video, and a little bit more building or getting into what my videos I want them to be like, the structure of what I want my videos to be like. We start off with recapping some changes to my base, the minor changes I made. There is a building room I didn't cover in the underground base in this video, I believe, that I will cover later. That I did completely do. I recorded it, but because my mic was muted the entire time I was recording it, I kind of couldn't use the footage. Anyways, no big deal. I'll just cover that video footage later, uh, or reveal it later. For now, we're working on probably one of my proudest rooms yet. We'll get into that, along with some other changes that have been made on the server, namely my base, Sheila's base, and a little bit of what my brother Justice has been working on. You can kind of get a glimpse of it in this video, along with some other things from early on, and I go into detail to explain them. So, that's all I really have to say. Without further ado, let's get straight into this Minecraft video. Let's see what I've done. Okay, so in my last video, I kind of showed you guys... Let's make sure I'm recording real quick. There we are. I don't know how to toggle perspectives, so I'm not going to do that. I mean, if I do it on a controller, I guess you could see. That's an emote. I don't even know how to do it on a controller. Anyways, I'm going to be showing you guys what we did since the last time I recorded. I've done a little bit. I haven't done a terrible lot. I've added the third floor I was talking about in the last video. In my first video showing off the server, I decided to add that third floor to the villager hall, aka my base. Anyways, let's take a quick trip outside. There isn't too much for me to show you, other than the third floor and that back there, and Sheila's base, because Sheila is now nearly done with her base, and I figured that would be a good time to show you. I guess first off, I can show you the inside of this floor. I'm going to change this floor a little bit too. I still got to experiment with it and finish it. I plan on making it less open, a little bit more closed. The discussion plan for me right now, though, is I don't know if I'm going to put another layer of villagers up here. So I'm not going to touch this completely. If I am going to do another layer of villagers, this is going to be more open plan. But if it's going to be an actual living space for me, I'll have my bedroom and like a kitchen and some other segments, maybe like I don't know, a bathroom or something, right? Obviously, that's a little more modern for a traditional build, but I feel like that's a good way to break things up and use those rooms, maybe a little extra storage room and whatnot. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, third floor. This is the third floor. This is what I've been working on. Also, I changed the design of the outer of the windows. Instead of just having the flower bed and these with the lanterns on top, I added a little cover with the lanterns hanging off these. I think this gives the build more depth and volume. I might do something with these walls. I might leave them bland. I like them being bland just because it adds like plainness, simplicity. I don't know quite yet though. But this is the third floor. This is kind of what I'm doing here. I'm thinking about doing some tables, some like floor tables, and then having maybe some food or some chef villagers up here. Kind of just like a nice little lounging area for those that want to chill. Not really any practical use. I just think that the third floor was necessary to add height to this build. I think the build looks a lot better with 3 floors now. And because of that, see, I don't have a way up here actually. Uh, because it adds height to the build looks a lot better. 2 floors looked good and all, in my opinion, but 3 floors it's better. And then I capped it off at 3. Now this is still experimental up here too, but I'm working with a kind of a top design, and I want to have I might shorten this, so I might actually bring this a slab down or up, like this blue shingles here. And then I might just do a slab and then a staircase and fan it out that way. And I'm trying to go from like a wooden kind of thing on. It's going to be on each side. This is going to be over there too. I'm still got to kind of change this a little bit, and I might actually make the last block a gold block. It's kind of like a log is kind of seeping through, I guess, if you will. And obviously, I did a similar technique with all the corners on the roof. You know, on this one and this one, I got that and that. I might actually, I might replace these with lightning rods. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find a way to put lightning rods on my build without them actually being appearing, because lightning rods are gonna be an important thing here. I actually had lightning strike right there in that corner of that dark oak. It's pretty rare that it happens, but it did happen, and a good chunk of that dark oak was burnt, and I'm not trying to do that all again. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the outer view here. There you go. That's with 3 floors. If you can get rid of that floor right there, you can kind of see what the 2-floor build and how the 3 floors kind of adds volume to it. I'd probably show you my base. So this is my base that I'm working on right now. This was originally supposed to be what I call the village. Now, I'm not going to do a 4th floor. I just think that's too much. With how it's decreasing in height, it's just going to be, not only is it going to be really hard to add detail on the inside of the room, but it's just, I don't know, it's too small for the build. Anyways, I still got to extend this way and whatnot. I still got to terraform a little bit, and I'm actually going to have some outer walls here. I think they're just going to be tiny walls. I think I'm going to do villager statues, and then in between the villager statues are going to be like iron bars and like stone and moss and stuff. The walls can't be too big because the sheep farm right here kind of limits me. So, we'll see. This is the work in progress animal farm. These are all beehives that my brother is using because he's going to be using copper and prismarine in the shingles, and he wants the copper to be waxed so it doesn't weather or oxidize rather. Anyways, it's a formatted building, but this is the layout. As you can see, this is going to be like bunnies, and it's just a nice little building that goes vertically for animals in case you want leather or bunnies like rabbit foot or mutton or food, and then also animal byproducts. Just a nice have them here. His chickens seem to have escaped a little bit. Not quite sure how. I might have to change this for him and make these staircase. I don't know how these chickens got out, but they did. So, oh wow, that's so weird. Those chickens disappeared. You don't see that. Don't worry about that. Those feathers were always in my inventory. Anyways, it's like I said, it's repetitive, but it's a nice, simple design that isn't too overly complicated for a little animal farm. So it's kind of useful. I don't see myself using it that much, but when I run low on leather, which I eventually will run low on leather, I'm gonna have to use this rather than just running around trying to look for cows for 9 minutes. We're on a prairie, so there is an increased spawn rate of animals, but it's just a nice little detail, a nice little build that adds to the little ongoing and growing village that we have. And it does have some use, so it's kind of nice. I like the design he went with. This is the first time I've actually seen acacia being used, which is really cool. And then you have the quartz here. I suggested the carpet and the acacia logs to help break up the orange in the room, which I think he did a magnificent job at implementing here. These are actually going to be covered too with the birch trapdoors. He's already showed me, because he has this built on a creative world. And it's not going to be all flat here. There's going to be shingles that come out vertically and kind of fan up and down. They're outlined in, I believe, copper, and then have copper strips in it, and then the rest is going to be prismarine shingles. The shingles themselves are going to be prismarine. Anyways, that's what's been made there. I suppose I can go to Cody's base and show you what Cody has started. I also, in my off time of getting packed ice for the thing I want to build, which I will get to, I have found 2 more prismarine temples, which will be super useful. They're super close in that direction. 300, 100, I believe. This snow. This must have been Cody's doing. Anyways. I think I showed you the ramen shop. An eventual plan here for this as well is I want to do a small little, like spruce light tower, or lighthouse, over the mob farm. This is what my friend Cody, aka the server owner, is working on right now. This is like gonna be, he called it a castle, but then he also said it's not like a medieval castle. So the reason why we don't call it a castle, it technically is a castle. But when you say castle, you think medieval stone brick cobblestone walls, with like the knights and the swords and the fluted armor. Like that's usually what people think when they say medieval. But I'm gonna pick this up for him because that I don't think he wants to lose that. Anyways, but it is a castle, but it's like a Japanese estate. Think of it of like, if you've ever played Ghost of Tsushima, I might go through and find some screenshots, but like, or Ghost of Tsushima, or even just look up traditional Japanese stuff, and you'll see like clans oftentimes they have like an estate, right? Or even rich families or high political officials. They have estates, and it's basically large houses or large housing with usually high exterior walls, and inside it you got like maybe you got a training grounds, or maybe you got a stable, or a spare livings quarter, or some natural scenery, stuff like that. It all depends on what the aesthetic you're going for is, but generally that is kind of what this kind of, I don't want to say it kind of looks like, but that's generally what they kind of go for. And that's where he started. Obviously, he only has the top done right now, but, work in progress. This is Sheila's base. So, she's got a little temporary sugarcane farm going on, but you can see all the vegetation she utilized here. She used some moss, some flowering azaleas, lilacs, blue orchids, small drip leaf, bamboo, large drip leaf, sea pickles, more moss, moss carpet, lily pads, vines. I believe this is what is this? Alluvium, rose. I don't have to state everything, but she's got all kinds of flowers and vegetation here with a mixture of trees to kind of add to it. And then along with her path here, she takes cobblestone and a mixture of spruce uh, planks, slabs, and staircases to help traverse her path with a little bit of grass in it. And it's a nice little simple abode. And then you have a small little cherry blossom and a naked sheep. And then you get to the actual house where the copper is weathering to a greenish blue, and the mixture of wool, dry concrete, and not wet concrete. What is this? Is this powdered concrete with spruce and some stone bricks and stone moss, whatnot? You see the blocks to kind of incorporate into the build. Very nicely done with the barrels on the bottom here to add some texture to our build, which I need to start doing more of. I need to get more into the gradients and stuff. I haven't really done with those much. You got some nice little home decor. She uses trapdoors as windows, which is pretty smart. Going here, you got a little section off. You got your little area you'd eat. You got some storage for maybe your kitchen. Maybe those are your like cupboards. You got a black cat, which I think you can only get uh, from witch huts. And then you got your little kitchen area with the dried kelp as carpet. Back door, or technically front door. That's technically the front door, because it's more eccentric. And then you have the upstairs, pretty basic, but also very detailed. A ladder that goes upstairs to the attic. And then this is what would be her bedroom. Got a nice little design, changing color to try to add some oomph to it. And then you have creeping vines, flowering azaleas, leaves, and moss dangling down from the top. And then obviously you got your enchantment room. Now I believe these can be shared so they stop growing. I believe. I'm not entirely sure. And then you got, some usefulness. You got a grindstone, enchantment table, and ender chest up here. So there practicality to it. She also uses looms to make it look like there's empty bookshelves, which is very smart. Nice, fine little details. And then you got your underground area where she's got her storage, which I think is a very, very unique storage. It's kind of catacombs-like. I like this. It's very cool. I'm not going to peruse through her chest or anything. I'm just going to show you guys. Here, looks like she needs jungle, which I can fix for her. Shulker shells, whatnot. You got your asphyxiated storages, and then it looks like I think this is the mending villager, right? Yeah, Pablo. This is the mending villager. You got her armor sets, another ender chest, and then you got some more equipment down here, and anvil, furnaces, whatnot. Pretty cool. So yeah. Eventually, I'm gonna have a similar room to this. This is probably, I think I'm gonna do this with my bedroom. Not so much the storage, but um, the actual like armor stands and whatnot. I think I am actually gonna do that with my bedroom because I think that would be a nicer little detail to add to it. I'm also planning on using scaffolding as like a nightstand, but I'm not entirely sure that's like I'm not too worried about doing a bedroom right now. I'm more worried about getting my underground base functional, which is what I want to show you guys. You've already seen a part of my underground base, but I started expanding in the other direction. I got a little bit of copper that's waxed, so that won't melt. And then this is the next start of my underground base. This is going to be a big ass building, a big ass room. I showed behind a piston door there was a work in progress room of which it was not extended upon very much. Well, I have indeed extended it. It is not done. It is not close to being done. I still got to do a color palette, and I've got to do some changing around and whatnot and experimenting to try to figure out what is a good color palette. While the basement is a little less traditional to Japanese, it's a little bit more dungeony, I suppose, which I kind of like. So yeah, it's an underground base. It doesn't exactly represent the Japanese culture that is going on above. I mean, it does a little bit, not entirely, but kind of a dungeony build. I'm okay with it though. And then this is my mine that goes down to different various levels. Y equals 16 in the old chunks, and then you got your newer ore spots that you would like to mine at for whether it's iron or redstone or lapis or whatever. So that's kind of cool. And then this has been pushed back. So this is approximately where the wall stopped when I last showed you guys. The wall now goes all the way back there. It's still going to extend or potentially lead to a hallway that goes farther down in some various area. And then I've also have two rooms I'm setting up right now. I'll show you the finished room right now, which is the concrete maker room. So this is a basic room where I'm actually letting this weather. I'm gonna see what this looks like, and if I don't like the weathered copper, I will scrape it with the axe and then put wax on it. However, we'll see. This is the first room I actually tried messing with gradients here, but you got the basic factory kind of look. I was kind of going for a sort of factory mixed with like a lab, like an underground lab. It's a little bit of both. So like the lab is kind of displayed with these sea lanterns and the kind of deep slate running across, or at least I think it does. And then you got like those walls that have like this basic pattern, but it's also a unique color. And then it blends in with stone brick here, the black stone, and then it leads to a gradient with a mixture of andesite, stone, powdered concrete, dry concrete, andesite again, and then you have your smooth stone. And then the floor is super bland, and this is intentional. I want the floor to be super bland because, like I said, it's sort of like a factory look. My dad works at a factory, and I got a pretty good look at it. It's a pretty nice factory. It's not like a mass-produced company. It's a local area, a local factory, but it's a well-looking factory. And this is kind of a similar to what I wanted to use. I didn't want to use stone just because with it being an underground base, I didn't want to make it look like I was just too lazy to do the floor. And this is kind of like a more pale, uh, boring color. And that's what I was going for. I know, like, yeah, wow, you want your shit to be boring? Uh-huh. But I feel like most of the attention is drawn up here, which is kind of what I want. There's a creeper back there. Okay, I did not light this up enough. I will either hide a better light source in between the little pillars here, uh, and the slabs, or I will actually introduce lamps in the bottom of this occasionally, so like a lamp here, and like a lamp here, and like a lamp here. You get what I mean. Still kind of keeps it a little boring on the floor. It does add a little bit of detail, unfortunately, but it's whatever. And then these are the concrete makers. Keep in mind, I'm on Minecraft Bedrock, so I cannot do TNT duplicators, which means I cannot feed the concrete into a explosion zone of TNT that duplicates and then drop the TNT or the exploded concrete into a hopper system below that feeds into a chest. So I can't completely automate concrete making because TNT duplicators just don't exist. I don't know why this is in there. It must have been Cody. But these are pretty useful for making concrete instead of digging out a hole and filling it up with water that's too deep. and then mining it out, and then collecting it, and then going back down and placing it down and mining it. You can just feed it into this piston. I would show you if I had any concrete. And eventually it gets to the end of this. This redstone signal gets pushed off to this, and these pistons push it out. This is an old row that you just placed, and then a new row can be set in, and then eventually rinse repeat the same process until I believe it goes out a total of 13 blocks, including the iron right here. And then it can't push anymore because that's the piston limit. I don't plan on making it anymore with slime or honey. I think it's fine. And I got a second one here, which gives 2 people at least at once to use concrete makers if they need to. Now, I don't believe there's going to be a whole lot. I mean, they will, but I don't think there's going to be like high traffic to these things. One, there's only 4 players that consecutively play on the server. I believe there's 9 or 10 people in total. And then, 13 block limit. 2 players can use. I think that's all right for concrete maker. A lot of us are using concrete. I'm using concrete. Sheila's using concrete. Justice is using concrete. I believe Cody has used just a little bit of concrete. So I think this is a nice little feature that I will enjoy personally. I know I'm going to use this, and I believe the other people in the server are going to use this. And if not, that's fine. But nice little room. It's a little engineering room, right? It's a little factory. Now, each room I want to go for a different look, right? So not every room is going to look the same as this, or going to have the same factory appeal. It depends on what the room is and what the job of the room is. So each redstone thing I build under here, by the way, this is a redstone area where I build my redstone contraptions, or primarily most of them. Each redstone contraption, depending on what the redstone contraption is built around, will have a different room. Now we're getting to this room, which I am currently working on. I did not fix this. Here, let me do this. And then take a carpet here and cover this up. But each room will have a different look. And as opposed to this, you can see, oh, wow, it's vegetation, right? Yes, this is vegetation. The torches are temporary. This is just to make sure nothing spawns down here. I'm using moss, azaleas, flowers, and I have some extra blocks in here, and the blocks will probably tell you what I'm doing. So, I have kelp, packed ice, so this is for the farm that I'm making, and then these peonies, bamboo, vines, glow lichen, and leaves, and glowberries, and I will be using jungle logs as well, will contribute to the vegetation. And the actual kelp and the packed ice, along with glass I actually have in my inventory, and the extra chest and smooth stone, will be used for the I can't think, I'm sorry. For the kelp farm. I am creating a passive auto-generating kelp farm. Now, this thing is probably going to be large. I don't know how far it's going to expand out this way quite a little bit. And then I might actually have the first row of kelp will be visible through glass, and then it'll push up via soul sand, and then drop into the packed ice belt that pushes it into a hopper, and the hopper feeds into a chest. And then from that chest, I still got to determine whether I want to put that into a furnace and cook that, and then transport it to a super smelter, or if I want it to be an individual from the super smelter. Anyways, getting a little sidetracked. Behind this first row of kelp farm, I might actually have more kelp farms behind it that have hoppers that go around the sides. I'm not sure yet. It all depends on the efficiency of the kelp farms. I also might I might not start the kelp farm like at this layer. I might dig down a couple levels. So like there, I might dig down here, and then that's why I start my kelp farm. Like, so it's a little taller, if that makes any sense. I don't know. We'll see. I still got to do a little bit of experimenting. If I actually go on to, let's do save and quit. I have a creative test world that I've been using recently. I've been using it a little more. I haven't done creative test worlds often, but I've just started recently doing the creative test world, and I think it's a great idea, and I'm going to start doing it more. However, I should separate my redstone from my actual builds. Like, this is an original quartz house that I wanted to do. Oh, there's fire on that. Anyways, so this is the original design I had for my villager hall. As you can see, it was a lot smaller originally, but I made it a lot bigger. This is originally what I planned, which this is still, it looks good in its own right, but I like my design better. I think the bigger atmosphere is nice, considering that it's my actual base rather than rather than just being some village hall. It's actually my base included, so that's kind of nice. Was a terrible idea. I don't know what I was doing here. I do like the bamboo forest idea, and I might put this in, kind of. I'm not entirely sure. It all depends with the stone walls here. This I am not building on our server, or at least I don't plan to for a while. This, however, is what I'm interested in. So this is an old design. This actually, I'm not using this. I am using from starting here to the left. This is the design I'm using. I've increased the tick speed of the world for obvious reasons. You know, I don't want to sit there and wait for the shit to grow. I wanted to see if it works. So there's going to be more kelp on my world or on the server, but there's soul sand and dirt. The kelp grows on the dirt. Kelp goes up here. Then there's an observer that is tied to redstone that feeds all the way down here to pistons. When the kelp grows all the way up here, the pistons activate, push it, and then the soul sand and the running water at the top will force the kelp to fly out into this, which feeds into hoppers and then into chests, right? The glass is all protective to make sure that the kelp doesn't fly up and over or land on this and then despawn after 5 minutes. It's to increase the efficiency of the farm and to make sure that I'm getting all the products it is producing. The only thing is that I noticed is that occasionally the kelp will kind of stagger and it won't grow all the way. So that's why each one of these don't have an independent redstone string, is because when I did this, I originally had no other rows, just this one. And occasionally the kelp, even with the ridiculous, I think the tick speed is like 1 or 2,000 on this. And occasionally this kelp would stop growing. It just wouldn't grow. I think it's a bedrock issue. Like, I would sit there for an hour and it would not grow. And I've checked all these remain source blocks the entire time. That's not an issue. If I take kelp and build it all the way up, if it doesn't grow, it gets pistoned and then it resets and it grows again. So with this design, hopefully that doesn't happen, because when any of these hit an observer, any of these kelp hit an observer, all these pistons are going to push out and reset the kelp. So hopefully this should fix that issue that I had. So all these reset, meaning that as long as all these kelp, as long as every single individual kelp does not have that same issue, I should theoretically be okay. But we'll find out. We'll see as I actually build this. And then if I do make this, I think 12 or 16 long, I'm going to have to incorporate a repeater, which I might have to bring the redstone out one and then in. We'll see. But you guys get the general design. This is kind of what I'm going for. This is going to be on the back side of the wall. And this current build, which I actually like this height a lot. This currently is 1, 2, well, hold on. Let's see, 3, 4, 5. I keep doing that. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 high, including the barrier I have here, which technically I won't need since it's in an underground base. So we'll be lenient and we'll say it's 12 high, right? So this is going to be about a 12 block high build. And then technically I'm also going to have to make the roof lower than that if I want to hide this right here. So we'll see. I'm kind of playing it by ear right now. But yeah, after I've showed you this design, I'm going to go ahead and hop back on the world and start messing around a little bit and see what I can create. The goal here is to try not making videos over 30 minutes with the exception of the first video, because of how much content I had to cover before I could finally start going into these projects, the live projects. I had to finish up the last live projects I covered and finished completely in this video, and that took about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So due to that nature, I kind of have to move the live project I'm working on with the kelp farm into the next video, which hopefully you don't mind. The next video is going to be the entire through the motion of the kelp farm. Obviously, in this video, I've incorporated the digging out the space, shelling that out, and then redstone creating the kelp farm. that I'm going to be using, and the next video will be implementing that stuff into the build, and then actually building the vegetation and whatnot. Think of this video as like making up for what I did off camera, what I expanded upon without recording, or more so, footage I had to scrap. The updates that my friends have been making in their builds, because I do want to show off their builds a little bit. And then I moved slightly into the experimental design on Creative World, showed you my Creative World that I experiment things on, and the redstone that I was using. Now, next video, hopefully, I can move into the lush cave that I am designing. If you couldn't tell, it's a lush cave. And I'm very, very excited for this because this is probably my proudest project, to be honest, in the Minecraft series yet. And that's coming from someone who's done numerous projects after the lush cave. So, that's all I gotta say for this video. And tomorrow, or rather, I think tomorrow, we'll move into the lush cave. Hopefully I can get this uploaded by then. Take care, and I hope you have a good day.